It's time for this week's episode of Brandon's Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Brandon's Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the U.S. Paralympian Hall of Famer swimmer, Cortney Truitt. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into professional swimming?
So for me, I I'm come from a swimming family. I was the granddaughter of a swimmer who was was one of the founding members of the Swimming Hall of Fame. My dad was a nationally ranked age group swimmer. My sister was a state champion swimmer. I didn't really have a choice, like what sport I was going to do. I just was automatically thrown in the pool with my sister, and I loved it. I honestly, growing up, I didn't really think I was going to be a professional athlete, and that's just because of the lack of awareness of the Paralympics. So I was swimming with able-bodied swimmers and comparing myself to them. So I always knew that I wanted to be a swimmer. I was in there from a young age, but it wasn't until I was exposed to the Paralympics that I really thought that I had a shot at it. And that was probably around 15.
What was it like at the age of 7 starting out swimming?
So when I started out swimming, I was terrible. I was so bad at swimming. With my disability, it affects my left side. And so my left side is a lot weaker. So with swimming is a symmetrical stroke. You need your left side and you need your right side. And then working together is what propels you through the water quickly. So having my left leg doesn't kick, and my right arm, when I began, couldn't get out of the water. So I was going really, really slow throughout the water. And the only reason I stayed in it is because I just loved the feeling of the water. With my disability, I'm in a lot of pain all the time. And being in the water, it made me feel like a release of like pressure on my body. And so I kept going because I loved it. And it turned out to work out for me really well.
What was it like going to Loyola to do swimming?
So Loyola was a great opportunity for me. I had just graduated with my bachelor's degree from California Lutheran University, and I knew that I wanted to continue my education, and I knew that I wanted to swim and do schoolwork at the same time, and I would be training for Rio. So I knew that there weren't a lot of coaches and opportunities at the time, like places for me to go. And Brian Leffler, who is the head coach at Loyola, really opened the door for a ton of Paralympic athletes to come there and train and get an education simultaneously. So being there and getting to swim with the swim team, even though I was getting my master's degree, I was still able to swim with the swim team many times. And then also like a Paralympic community grew. When I was swimming with Loyola, there was also Mackenzie Cohen, Alyssa Gialamis, Lizzie Smith, Jessica Long was swimming with us for a little bit, Brad Snyder. And it turned into some like really amazing athletes training together for one goal, which is amazing because it really drives you to train harder.
What was it like obviously being a part of the World Championship in 2006?
No, in 2006, I was only 15. And I went to nationals and I had no idea it was the trials for World Championships because I had never swam in Paralympics before. I knew nothing. So I went there, I got classified, and I swam the 400 freestyle for like the third time in my life. And I touched the wall and everyone was clapping. And I was like, what just happened? And I was swimming next to Erin Popovich, and they had announced that me and her had just gone 1-2 in the world. So we're first and second ranked in the world. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're going to make the world's team. And I was like, wait, what is happening? So it was such a whirlwind, because I went from, not really, it was my first like Paralympic meet. So I went from swimming against able-bodied swimmers, not really thinking that I was that great at swimming, to being second in the world within a weekend. And then they're like, oh, here you go. You're going to Durban, South Africa. And I had never been away from my home before, like without my parents. And here I am, 15 years old. It was just like my world turned upside down, because I was this 15-year-old kid who wasn't that confident in swimming. And then, 6 months later, I'm at the World Championships and I won 3 bronze medals for the United States, which was an honor, especially at that young age.
What was that like, obviously winning at such a young age, 3 bronze medals?
So I went into it not thinking that I would win anything, because I was 15. I was really going for the experience and to get used to competing on the world stage. And I was young and I had trained hard and I dropped a lot of time, and just getting to stand on the podium next to Aaron, who had really like coached me through that process. It was incredible. And to see the flag raise, like that's the best moment. Like I think any athlete can agree with me that like seeing your hard work paid off is seeing that flag raise. And I was lucky enough that I got to hear the anthem play, even though I didn't get that at that time because Aaron won gold. But it was so awesome being able to stand up there, see those flags raise, and know that your hard work paid off.
What was it like in 2008 going to the Paralympics for the first time?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, because at that point I was like accustomed to it. I mean, it wasn't my first meet. I had a couple world level meets under my belt and I was prepared and I was like hungry for it. I was so ready. I had trained that whole summer. My coaches at the time, I was swimming for BCH in Henderson. And at the time, they really worked around every schedule to make sure that I had the lane space, the practices that I need. And I felt very confident. And, my first race, I won bronze. My next race, I won silver. And my next race, I won silver. And then my 50 fly, I didn't even make finals. And I was kind of upset about it. But then the next day I had my 50 free. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to go win gold. I've got the bronze. I've got the silver. I'm going to go win gold. And she's like, okay. Because I wasn't a sprinter at the time. I was a 400 freestyle was my race. And I went out there and I dropped 2 seconds and I won gold. And, I couldn't lie to my mom. So I had to win gold.
What was that feeling like when you finally did win gold?
There's this picture of me like that they got when I won gold, and I'm just like this. And I think it sums up, I was so shocked, I was swimming against the best in the world, and I was only 17 and I was able to reach like the pinnacle of my career at such a young age and to accomplish everything that I had worked for. I mean, I did start swimming at 7. So like I had swam for 10 years, but I was still so young, and it was so unexpected, especially in the 50. Like I said, it wasn't my race, and so many things went wrong in that race. They had us stand up and they had us get back down because there was an issue. And so like, it was, my legs were shaking because I couldn't get down, and I was just like, and I was like psyching myself out during it. But then I touched the wall and I won. I don't know how I did it still. Like, it was just pure adrenaline, I guess.
What was it like, obviously, being a part of the 12, 14, and 15 and being the team captain?
Oh my gosh, that is probably one of my favorite parts of like being in the Paralympics, is being able to be the team captain for so many times. It's an honor to be a part of the team, and it's an even higher honor when these individuals who I saw them as like my peers, my friends, but they were also like my role models, and they inspired me so much to train hard and to be the best version of myself when I was representing the United States. And these people wanted me to represent the team and represent them by being team captain and lead them. And to think that they saw me as that in that leadership at multiple times, I smile when I think back on it, because it really means a lot.
How was it like, obviously, traveling to London for the 2012 Paralympian?
Oh my gosh. So London was amazing. They were such an incredible host city. I had never been to London before, and they really rolled out the red carpet for us. They had everything prepared to make us feel as comfortable as possible and as prepared as possible to race. They took care of everything. And every single person who was working there was thoughtful and helpful. London was an incredible host city, and I was very honored to be a part of that.
How did it feel to obviously go back to Rio in 2015 after going your first time to Rio?
Yeah, so Rio is an incredibly fun city to visit. If you ever get the chance, it's very fun. The people there are so passionate, and they were so excited that they were able to be a host city in 2016. I had been there a couple times because there was World Championships in 2009 there, and then there was another meet in 2015 that I attended that was in Brazil. And they are such, like I said, a passionate crowd. They make you feel welcome, and they were extremely excited that we were there. It was very loud when we were competing, because they were definitely cheering very loudly for us.
How did it feel the first time you got to put on the Paralympic medal around your neck?
It's just surreal, I guess. Being able to, accomplish that high of a goal. I think it's any Paralympic para-athlete, it's their goal to get on the podium, and to have that goal accomplished. It was like a relief, but also it provided this hunger that, like, I want to do this again. This is so cool. You stand there, your flag is raising, everyone in the stadium is cheering for you, your team is screaming your name, and you just know that you accomplished something for your country.
What was it like, obviously, competing in the freestyle, the butterfly, and the back style?
So the freestyle was it was one of my best strokes. So I felt really comfortable with that stroke, and backstroke is nice because you can always breathe. Butterfly was definitely something I had to work on, and it transformed into one of my best strokes. In 2018, my last meet, I actually only swam freestyle and butterfly because it had transformed after many years. You're swimming when you're older. I was like 28. I know that's not very old, but when you start at 17 and you go, 12 years of swimming, your body changes and you kind of have to adapt. And that's what I did throughout my career. Is I started out as a distance swimmer, and I kind of transformed into this sprint butterfly swimmer to be able to compete as long as I could.
What were some of your favorite memories and moments competing for US on the Paralympic level?
Oh man, there are so many great memories that I have. Like, it's simple too, just like the plane rides there, the bus rides there, and the people who are supporting you. I always say that, like, it's good to have goals, and it's good to go for those goals. But at the end of the day, like, I don't remember my times. I don't remember those swims that like the times that I got that I was reaching so hard for at one point in my life. I don't remember that, but I do remember that, like, after I won gold in the 50 free, I walked back. You walk out and they have you walk into this like processing area, and one of the coaches, Peggy Ewald, was there, and she hugged me. She was the first person that hugged me after I won my race, and I'll always remember that. And then Susan Beth Scott and Jessica Long were in the ready room, which is where they like contain you until you go out and you're swimming. And they had already checked in, and they both ran out when they weren't supposed to give me a hug. It's like moments like that really make it worth it. All the hard work. the moments of success and hanging out with your teammates. That's what's important.
What is the game day routine and ritual like during your time?
Oh, okay. So for me, I tried to sleep in as late as possible, which not honestly wasn't that long because, on a Paralympic day, you normally have to get to the pool to warm up by like 7:30. So I'd probably get up at like 6:30 and I'd have breakfast immediately. I love food. Huge peanut butter fan. So I'd usually have something with peanut butter. And then I would go to the pool. I had the same warm up. Like I always had the same warm up so that I would get in my mind, like this means game time. And then I would listen to really calm music until I got in the ready room. And then when I was in the ready room, I would like blast like Blink 182 and Fall Out Boy, like over and over and over again until it was time to race. But honestly, I was the kind of person that I couldn't think about it. I had to like block it out of my mind. And how I did that was with jokes. So I would ask people to tell me jokes to get me laughing, to like not think about it. I had some competitors in the ready room who liked that style of preparing too. On Team Great Britain, Susie Rogers and I would always talk in the ready room and try to laugh. Tess Rotleff from Canada, like some people enjoy talking before the race so they don't think about it, don't get too nervous. Other people like to like zone in the music. So I would try to laugh a lot and I would try to tell jokes. And that's kind of like not a very traditional routine, but it worked for me.
How does it feel to have Paralympian swimmer behind your last name?
So that is such a cool accomplishment. I mean, I started with the Paralympic movement when I was 15, and I came home to my high school, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you went to World Championships?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, and I was like, "For the Paralympics?" And they're like, "What's the Paralympics?" No one went in 2006. No one knew what Paralympics was because it wasn't televised. It didn't get the exposure. And I mean, I think it was 2004 was the first time that Paralympic athletes didn't have to pay for their own trip. Like prior to that in 2000, athletes had to pay their way. Whereas the Olympic athletes are getting like 2 people flown in to watch them. There was a huge disparity. And so having, the PLY like behind my name, just like the OLY, I think it's a huge step towards equality with Paralympics and Olympics, because para does mean equal, parallel to the Olympics. So it's really cool to see that is kind of like a symbol of equality in my perspective. So it's great.
What was it like, obviously, throughout your career competing with Paralympian swimmers such as Jessica Long?
It was great. I mean, there are so many incredible swimmers on the United States Paralympic swim team, one of them being Jessica Long. Jessica Long, I got to train with her from 2013, the summer of 2013, because I decided to train at the Olympic Training Center that summer after I graduated college with my bachelor's degree. And, we really clicked. We were pretty much inseparable that summer. And I decided to move to Baltimore, and we lived together for 3 years. And living together and training with another athlete is, I think it was really helpful for both of us to, stay focused. And so I think it improved both of our performances, having that support to live together. She's one of the hardest workers she is so dedicated to swimming. She's one of the hardest workers in terms of swimming that I've ever had the privilege of swimming with. So to be able to train with her and live with her, it was great. And, I just wish her the best. She's still competing, and I'm not surprised because she has a lot of determination and grit in her.
Of course, what was the feeling like this year when you got inducted into the Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame?
So I don't know if I'm inducted yet, cross your fingers. The voting happened. I find out on June 1st, but I like your question because it's like good mojo, right? We're speaking it into existence. Hopefully, I got in. I'm one of 9 finalists, and I'm like, I saw that I was a finalist and I saw who I was up against, and I was like, shoot, okay, maybe next year I'll be nominated again, because I'm nominated with some incredible athletes, like people who Trisha Zorn, like she has 46 Paralympic medals and is like every Paralympic swimmer's like role model. And I'm have my picture next to her as like someone to vote for. I'm like, dang, okay. But I hope, I hope that I get inducted. Just being nominated up against these incredible athletes it's so cool. I don't know, like the 17-year-old me who's just started in Paralympics never would have imagined that she would be, in the running for this high of an honor.
Of course, what is that feeling going to feel like, obviously, when you do get inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Oh, I'm going to pick up my son and I'm going to dance around the room. I don't know. I don't even think I have words for it. I'm going to be so excited to, be a part of like Paralympic history. And because, it's Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame now. It's Olympic and Paralympic training center now. And I love that we're on that playing field. And I love that I was able to, be one of the people who are recognized.
Of course, who are some of the people that you look up to in the swimming community?
When I was younger, I thought Summer Sanders was like the coolest person in the entire world, because not only was she a swimmer, but she was also on Nickelodeon. I mean, she couldn't get any cooler. And I read her book, and I remember I read her book in 2004, and I was just moping around. I was 13 and I was moping around that I could never be in the Olympics because I had never heard of the Paralympics at that point. And I was like, oh, I really wish that I could be an Olympian just like her. She is the coolest thing. And then, 2 years later, I'm on track to becoming a Paralympian. So she was a really big influence on me. I know she's not a professional swimmer, but my sister was a huge influence on me, because my sister, was always the coolest. When you're the little sister, you look up to your big sisters, and except that like awkward time when you're like fighting over clothes. But for the most part, I was always looking up for my sister. And she was a swimmer, and she was an incredible swimmer. And so, I became a swimmer because of her. So, and then in the Paralympic side, Erin Popovich absolutely 100% is one of my biggest role models, because we were competitors, but she treated me with the utmost respect. She calmed my nerves in the ready room when I was 15 years old, and she really taught me how to be a champion. Like, I feel like I am the swimmer that I was, but also kind of like the person out like alongside the swimmer. Like, she taught me how to be graceful in defeat and humble in victory. Like, she was and is an amazing woman, and I am lucky to have swam with her.
Of course, what is it like still seeing Paralympians such as Jessica Long have an outstanding career?
Oh, I'm so proud of all the Paralympic swimmers who are still going on. It was definitely weird watching them compete in Tokyo and not being there this year. I definitely missed being there, but I was like 4 months pregnant and not wanting to be there at the same time, because I wouldn't have done well at all. And I knew that my time was over. It was a good transition time. I kind of got to finish on my own terms, so it was great. And so now I'm in this really fun role where I get to watch these amazing up and coming swimmers that I got to meet, like Hannah Aston. She killed it in the 100 backstroke. Ahalia Lettenberger, oh my gosh, I've been watching her since she was like 13 years old, and to see her medal was a dream come true. Mackenzie Cohen is killing it. Colleen Young is just doing an amazing, like all these young girls that I saw swimming and was there, like kind of being like the team captain to them, they're coming in and they're just doing an amazing job. And then there's people like Sophie Herzog, who is team captain for Rio. For Tokyo, she was my roommate in Rio. I'm just really happy for all of these people who are succeeding, and I get to live vicariously through them.
What was that transition like, as you said, going into retirement, becoming a mother, and also becoming a teacher?
Yeah, it was a whirlwind, a lot of stuff, a lot of changes. So I got my master's degree in 2016, and I actually got hired by the school that I was interning in. So it was a big transition. I came home the next day I got home from Rio. It was back to school night, and so I went to school, I taught all day, and then I had to go meet all the parents and be like, hi, I don't know any of your children. I just got here. I'm exhausted. The time zone is weird. I was like so tired. But it was great. It was an amazing first year. The kids were super supportive and understanding, and it was cool to have like a little cheering squad. They would watch all my races and stuff. But after Rio, I didn't feel like I was completely done. I wanted to do one more. And that may have been because the next meet that I attended was in Australia, and who doesn't want to go to Australia? So that had a little bit to do with it. But mainly I wanted one more race, one more meet where I didn't feel a ton of pressure. I feel like in Rio, I kind of became someone that I wasn't in my other situation. In my other meets, I was always like goofy and fun, and I kind of took it too serious in Rio. So I wanted one more chance to just have fun and swim and do what I love. So in 2018, I decided it was my last race, and I knew it. I felt it in my heart. It was really hard. I cried on my last race, but I knew it was time, because teaching full time and swimming and competing, you can't do it. Like teaching is full time, swimming is full time. And I wanted to start a family. Like I had met the love of my life, Richie, and we knew we wanted to, have a family. And so this past year, I had my first child. I had my son, Charlie, and it's wonderful. It was a weird transition because swimming was my life for so long, but it was an easy transition because I had really thought ahead of time and found other passions. Teaching, I love being in the classroom. I love kids, like watching them figure something out, watching them struggle and figure it out is one of the best things in the world. And knowing that I kind of helped them get to it, it's my passion outside of swimming. And then, finding the love of my life, that part was easy because, well, it wasn't easy finding him, but it was easy once I found him. I knew that I wanted a family with him, and it was easy to kind of like choose that life because I knew I had a lot of really exciting things to look forward to.
What advice would you give future people looking to go to the Paralympics for the first time?
So the one thing that if you want to go to the Paralympics, make sure that you choose a sport that you absolutely love. It doesn't matter if you're good at it and you hate it. It's all about if you love the sport, because it's what's gonna get you through all the hours of training. Really train hard, find a good support system, because the people that are around you are what get you through it. I couldn't have done it without the people who I swam with, the coaches that I had. They really inspired me to continue on. Like I wanted to go to swim practice because I wanted to talk to Alyssa, and I wanted to go to Panera Bread after swim meet with her. So like I kept going because I knew I loved it. But on the days that you forget you love it because you're so excited, make sure that you have that support system with you.
What advice would you give Paralympians and Olympians looking to transition from being Olympians and Paralympics to the real world?
My first piece of advice for those people who are looking to transfer is start thinking about it early. I feel like a lot of Olympians and Paralympians, professional athletes, are so immersed in their world, which is good. You need that. but to an extent, you need to think about the future as well, because you need to know how to get to there. Because after you retire, or if something happens and there's an injury, you need to be able to transition and know what your other passions are. So I guess my advice would be to make sure that you think about it early and know what else excites you besides swimming or besides basketball or whatever your sport is, so that when it does come time to transition, it's easy because it's on your terms and you have something else that excites you.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media?
My handle on Instagram is at Cortney_Jordan. That's my maiden name. And I think I have a Facebook, but like I don't know. I'm not really a big social media person. I have a Twitter. I don't really go on it. Y'all, I'm a mom. If you're a first time mom, my baby is 3 months old. I don't post anything except maybe pictures of my dog. So if you like pictures of dogs, find me on Instagram.
Thank you again.
I feel like I'm too old for TikTok. Sorry.
Thank you again, Jordan Trotter, for your interview, and best luck in your future as you prepare to become a Hall of Famer.
Thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Cortney Trotter, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.